It's back.
Welcome to the Talent Basketball and Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Hess, and with me, as always, presumptive power forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Mike Regan. Mike, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Before we get into hockey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think about, like, have you seen all the news about Brandon Ayuk going wild on social media?
Yeah, you see the video of him dumping a backpack full of cash out in his closet?
Yeah. And in like multiple of those videos, he's mentioned about I'll go ahead and like sign with the Commanders tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
like,
it's
what
the
do the
GM
Commanders think when they hear that?
It's the guy from the front office that drafted him. It's his college quarterback. I think it's probably an open secret.
Right?
Yeah. Well, now Debo's gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's gone now.
Probably a pretty open secret that he's going to sign there. When he gets cut. And I think that the holdup on him getting cut is purely because the 49ers are trying to see if they can get like a conditional seventh out of the Commanders for him.
No one's trading for him.
They
just need to cut him. Yeah. At this point, no one is because he's gone full Antonio Brown on Instagram.
My favorite part was his Father's Day one where he gets on there.
Go see that one.
He's like, happy Father's Day right before I go to bed. I just want to say, go Commanders! Raise hail, whatever the fuck. Get out of here.
If I was, what was his name? Todd Harris? Is that it?
Josh Harris.
And the powers that be in Washington, I'd be like really split right now. Like, I don't know if I'm scared because he's crazy or if I love how much he wants to be on our team. I'm just not sure.
Listen, everything forever that Brandon Ayuk has touched, he's been pissed off about. So you gotta assume that he's gonna be pissed off after a amount of time. But it's like, it's like bringing in Costas Antetokounmpo, right? Like, him being there with Jaden means they're both going to be happy for at least a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're buddies. They went to college together. They played at Arizona State. And then Brandon Ayuk got drafted, and then 4 years later, Jaden Daniels got drafted.
Yeah. Speaking of Father's Day, then we can actually get into hockey. I saw a post on Father's Day on my timeline, and someone was like, I don't know, this might be fucked up of me, but someone was like, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and mine in heaven. And I read it and I was like, wow, way to make it about you.
Now here's my,
like, legitimately, I thought that.
Can I ask a follow-up question for that person? Does that mean their dad's dead, or are they talking about God, their father who art in heaven?
No, I think they were talking about their dad being 86 or whatever.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yeah.
Kingdom come. You ever get raised in the church and have too much useless knowledge in your head now?
Yeah, I wasn't really. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of like how you can like recite Kingdom Hearts lore from memory, and I can do the same with Dark Souls. Like fucking pointless, useless skill to have, but I have it. It's there. There's no getting rid of it. Mm-hmm. Just in case one day Sydney Sweeney comes to my apartment and knocks on my door and goes, "Help! I need help right now. Unless someone knows who Gwen's son is, I will not be able to get out of the city." In which case, it can be very useful to have all this fucking Dark Souls lore.
I mean, could it be useful? Unless there's something like, I mean, do you think if you did that, she would be like, "Now, do you want to have a drink?" Or, I mean,
listen, I'm just taking the opportunity to meet Sydney Sweeney. I'm not thinking about it further than that. The only other way I'm going to meet Sydney Sweeney is by going to the Knicks game 5.
Oh yeah, since she's a Knicks fan now. Yeah.
Hey, how about Julianne Moore, who's like a dedicated Knicks fan, and was just not on camera at all. Game 5. What's up with that? Anne Hathaway, another one, dedicated Knicks fan, friends with OG Anunoby, wasn't on camera at Game 5.
Was she in the crowd though?
Julianne Moore definitely was. I don't know about Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, I feel like if Anne Hathaway was, she would have got
not Julianne Moore.
Time.
Julianne Moore's a goddamn Oscar winner, I think.
I don't want to say anything mean, so we're just going to move on. About why the camera may have not went to Julianne Moore, who is a phenomenal actress, but still.
You don't think she's attractive? Nothing wrong with you.
She's very dry looking. Her skin looks very dry all the time. Like her body does, like they say, like what your body's like, what 97% water or something.
Yeah,
I think hers is like only 50%. She looks very dry.
What percent of your body is water,
Phenomenal
Mike?
actress. What'd you say?
What percent of your body is water?
Thanks to Spindrift and Liquid Death, a very, very high percentage.
102%.
Yeah, prior to that, it was low.
Mike, speaking of things that are mostly water, hockey. Is hockey the only team sport that water is a prerequisite?
Water polo, and that's it.
Nah, those are the only two.
Yeah.
Mike, it is creeping up on the NHL draft. It is creeping up on NHL free agency. But really, the whole fucking what?
The draft's tonight. So I don't know, the draft is not really creeping. It's
the NHL draft, so it's creeping because the NHL draft, it sucks. The NHL draft is a bad product, and we all need to accept that.
Like a television product, but no sports league has figured out how to like monetize their draft as a TV product like the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL
try,
draft
they don't.
fucking rules. I'll even give you the NBA draft, although the NBA draft has got its issues. The NHL draft, way too many rounds. It's like by the time you get to like the 25th pick, the guy doesn't even matter that much, and there's like another what? How many rounds after that? 5 rounds? 6 rounds?
Did you say NHL or NFL?
NHL.
Oh yeah. Well, there is 7 rounds, just like NFL. But yeah.
So like by the time you get to like the 25th pick, you're done caring about players in terms of like their on the ice impact immediately, and there's still 6 rounds to go.
It's just like different because like the NFL, a 5th round pick, you're like, okay, you're going like even a 7th round pick, you're like, okay, you're going to training camp, you're gonna have your chance to make the roster and be playing next year. NHL, it's like, all right, you're gonna go back to the Saskatoon Super Beavers or whatever for 4 years, and then eventually we're just gonna let you go.
Yeah, you draft someone in the 3rd round in the NHL, and you're like, can we get a wig on him and see if we can sneak him into the PWHL?
Yeah.
Can we Juana man him?
We can Juana man him, exactly.
But Mike, in light of the draft and the pending free agency, the NHL has gone fucking nutso crazy on trades recently.
Which wild.
It's been wild. So we're going to do a simple gimmick here, where we're going to go through every single trade with the most minute detail possible. Make sure we break it down from every angle, tell you what impact every... No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go through every trade, and if we want to talk about it, we'll stop and start talking about it.
Bingo.
So, Mike, we're going to go in reverse chronological order, or, as the kids are saying now, Rokon order, from the most recent trade all the way back to the original trade in the NHL history, which is when Guy Lafleur was traded for 11 Canadian geese.
That's true.
We're basically gonna go back and tell what's the earliest trade I have on here? It was something significant, right? We're gonna go back to the Joseph Woll trade is the oldest one I have.
Yeah, that's the last one I put on there because it was like actually like once the week of absolute batshit craziness started.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to the Joseph Woll trade, but we're going to go in Rokon order. So we'll start here, Mike. Just moments ago, the Ottawa Senators acquired Andrei Burakovsky from the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2027 6th-round pick. Now we pause. All right, nothing burger.
Moving on.
Mike, prior to that, Buffalo Sabres traded for someone. We're going to skip that one.
No.
Mike, the Buffalo Sabres acquired Olen Zellweger from the Anaheim Ducks for Anton Wahlberg and a 2026 2nd-round pick, which is the 45th pick overall. It is the Islanders pick.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were going to have something to say about that. You did.
Oh, I do. Just that at first I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I stepped back. I thought about it. And Olen Zellweger is brought in to replace Bowen Byru. He's smaller, but he's also like a super offensive-minded defenseman. And I think part of my reservations at first were just like, what was he? Yeah, Wahlberg was a 2nd-round pick, but still he was like a name known in the system. And I was like, oh no, we gave up on him. But also like best case scenario, when he gets up to the show, he's like a bottom 6 forward. So I'm actually fine with it. I think that works because they have to pick up at least a defenseman or 2 to refill what they've lost. So
yeah,
I
don't have a ton to say about this, but I will say as we get further into this, a common theme will be the Sabres just need warm bodies on the blue line.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing backwards, Mike, the Ottawa Senators acquire Samuel Ersson from the Toronto Maple Leafs for a 2027 fifth-round pick. This was obviously traded, right?
Yeah, because they got
this was part of the
Ersson
Joseph Woll trade. Yeah,
in the Joseph Woll trade. So they obviously poor Ersson. No one wants him.
Maybe he should be better than minus 16.2 expected goals or goal saved above expected in like 20 games or whatever it was. He was real bad last year.
People tell me that's not good.
Mike, the Montreal Canadiens acquire Brett Bernard from the New York Rangers for William Trudeau. Former Prime Minister William Trudeau.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh shit, they got the Prime Minister? Damn. Nothing burger.
Okay, so you basically pitched me on this format before we got in, where we were just going to skip over the trades we didn't feel like talking about. I will say for this next one, I specifically had a note that said that to when I entered the podcast to discuss how we're only going to talk about the important trades. For instance, we don't need to break down Declan Chisholm's trade. And so with that, I would like to hand out the award for the most Declan Chisholm trade of this trade deadline, which is the New Jersey Devils acquired Declan Chisholm from the Washington Capitals for a 2027 fourth-round pick.
Yeah, shit went crazy for a minute, and then I feel like after like the last day or two, I've just been kind of like, all right, now these trades are just getting into like nothing burger scraps for scraps trades, but
yeah. But we got to mention them to get that sweet SEO. You see, people when they Google
a Chisholm SEO,
when they Google New Jersey Devils 2027 fourth round draft pick, I want our podcast to come up.
Exactly.
Mike, the Devils, who did a lot of trades, and most of it was nothing, with one exception we'll get to in a little bit. Mm-hmm. The Devils acquire Amadeus Lombardi from the Detroit Red Wings for a 2026 fourth round pick, which is the 108th overall pick.
What a name.
Amadeus.
Yeah.
Amadeus.
And Lombardi, he's playing the wrong sport. What a dumbass.
Yeah, he should be either doing piano or playing football.
Exactly.
Hold on, let's see. How big do you think this guy is? This Amadeus Lombardi.
If my parents named me Amadeus, I figure it's because I came out as a big ass baby and they thought I was going to be like at least like 6'5".
Yeah. The nice thing about Puckpedia is it doesn't list their height and weight, so cool.
Rep.
All we know about Amadeus Lombardi is that this entire time he was part of the Yzer plan. Mike. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquire Luke Tuch. This is the trade we were all looking for with Tuch, right?
Yeah, this was it.
For the Canadians, Hunter McCown. So just basically two early 20s forwards flipped for each other.
Let's see here. Yes, Luke Tuch is the younger brother of Alex Tuch, so he's got that going for him, but that's about it.
Do you think he's going to, like the same way that the Hughes brothers leveraged their, or the Tkachuck brothers leveraged their siblingship to get traded from? Do you think he's going to really put the Blue Jackets' feet to the fire and get moved to Washington?
He's going to like barrel his way into the GM's office and be like, I want out of here and I want to go play with my brother. And they're going to go, I'm sorry, hold on. Who are you?
They just start pulling up QWHL rosters being like, who's this guy's brother?
Yeah.
Mike, our first trade in a little bit that I actually have something I want to talk about with this. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquire Valeri Nichushkin from the Colorado Avalanche for a 2026 second-round pick, which is the 43rd pick overall, a 2027 third-round pick, and a 2028 fifth-round pick. So 3 picks for Valeri Nichushkin, who is going to be a line mate with Alex Tuch's brother. The Avs are having a cap dump offseason, eh? 31-year-old Valeri Nichushkin, 3 by 6.1 remaining. They're just like, they said, well, we're old and have tons of cap, and we're just going to start throwing shit out the window.
They traded out what I would consider like a third line forward, second line forward on a weaker roster. You know, he's never had more than 52 points in a season. I mean, I like Valeri Nichushkin, but I just don't think, or Nichushkin, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's like a big thing. I actually, when I saw this trade, thought nice haul for Colorado.
I think it's a nice haul for Colorado for what Nichushkin is, but like when you're trading away guys like Nichushkin, suddenly the Avs go from being the boogeyman under the bed to being like the third best team in the West. You know, like it's what makes the Avs so great isn't just that your Cale Makars and your Nathan McKinnons and your Nazem Kadris. It's that like you have the depth on your third line with a Nichushkin and a Jack Drury, who we'll get to later.
Yeah, I guess like part of what stood out to me in this trade more so like without thinking more in depth in Colorado was just like Columbus, why do you feel like you needed a Nichushkin? Like this doesn't make your team any better.
They love early 30s forwards.
Yeah.
And depth
like,
roles.
Why? It doesn't make any like I don't know like I'm not you didn't give up anything where it's like, oh my God, how are you gonna live without a second, third, and fourth round pick? But still, I just don't get this doesn't make you any better. And also you're like teetering right now and losing the best player on your roster. So what are we doing?
Yeah. The Blue Jackets feel like they sniffed the playoffs and they are going all in to get there.
Yeah, and Nichushkin's
to get to the
there.
playoffs, not to compete, but just to to be next year's Memorial Utah Mammoth of the playoffs. Yeah. Moving along here, the Pittsburgh Penguins acquire Hendrix Lapierre from the Washington Capitals for a 2027 third-round pick and a 2028 fifth-round pick. I got nothing for this one, Mike.
Yeah, same.
The Florida Panthers acquire Garnet Hathaway, 50% retained, and a 2026 sixth-round pick, which is the 181st overall pick, from the Flyers for a 2026 fifth-round pick, which is 136, and a 2027 fourth-round pick. You had any thoughts on 34-year-old Garnet Hathaway at 50% retained?
No, not at all. Other than like it's them getting some like maybe we'll need because of injuries need someone to fill in on the fourth line.
Yeah.
Later in the season, we'll do that.
Yeah, they gave up 2 picks to move slightly back in the draft and get a guy to sit in the
press
medic
box
room.
Yeah,
sit in an ice bath, waiting for his turn to hop on the ice for 2 shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, your Buffalo Sabres acquired a 2027 third-round pick via San Jose and David Kampf for the Washington Capitals to acquire Alex Tuch in a sign-in trade. 10.5 by 8 for I couldn't even remember his brother's name. I was going to call him his brother's name, but I already forgot his brother's name. It's something Tuch. I know that.
Luke
Tuch's brother. Mike, you probably don't have any thoughts on this one, right?
I do, yeah. Just that, well, one, we basically traded him for a third round pick, unless we're gonna we have the UFA rights to David Kampf. I don't know why we were like, yeah, let's get that.
Does it really count as UFA rights if it is? You have a week you can sign him. You have 1 week of rights.
And I probably wouldn't. I don't know why we threw him in there, but Tuch had to make a decision between playing for what was his like childhood team or going for the bag, and he went for the bag. Like the report from reliable like big name insider sources afterwards was that the Sabres final offer to him was 7 years for like just under 10 or like 10 at the dot million, and that wasn't working for him. So they had to like try to get something for him at the end. I don't blame a guy for taking the bag. I do wonder if there was a part of him seeing like every Sabre fan after that Montreal series being like, yeah, never mind. Don't resign him. Piece of shit. If he was like, all right, well, screw you guys. I'm out of here then. So congrats for him. He gets the bag. Caps have been extremely aggressive so far this offseason.
I enjoyed his spin on this when NHL players are a unique breed where they will do everything they can to pat the GM on the back for stealing money off the table from their mouth. No other sport will do this. Every other sport, players get so pissed for giving up like anything in the margins. Unless you're Jalen Brunson, in which case you're going to get pat on the back for your entire career for giving up money. But like Alex Tuch was like, I was really proud of getting that 8-year. And we took a discount to get 8 years. It's a lower average annual cost. And that way we know that we can build this team around you. Or this team around me. And first off, Alex, way to be ultimate fucking teacher's pet there. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Good job, GM. You really screwed me out $2 million I could have made. And second, buddy, you got 2 years of contention. I think this Caps team is loading up in a positive way, and I think that they have made a few different moves that I think are meaningful signals about Ovechkin and what's to come. But 8 years from now, this Caps team ain't exactly going to be, the 1985 Oilers or whatever.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if, 5 years from now, with 3 years left on this Tuch contract, they're trying to move it out.
Yeah, I mean, and they'll be able to. Cap's going up 10.5 in a $100 million cap doesn't look that bad, but
Cap's going up.
I doubt that he plays all 8 years for Washington. I bet. I almost feel like we should mark this and come back when we're both old and decrepit, like Alex Tuch, and have a conversation on this. But my bet is, I'll give you two options. I want to know which one you go to. Is he a buyout guy, or is he going to be LTIR retirement by the 8th year of this contract? Is he LTIR retirement, or is he a buyout guy? I mean, you could take he'll play it out, but I'm guessing one of those two is the reality.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance he could play it out, but it might be more like a buyout. Yeah,
I mean, he'll be 38 years old at the end of this contract, and Alex Tuch is good, not great. And I doubt at 38 years old that he's going to be out there, hustling up and down the ice, really putting pucks in nets.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So it's probably a buyout.
So I do want to talk a little bit more about the trade itself, but you know what's a fun part of this deal?
What?
We're probably getting a Tom Wilson, Alex Tuch line on the wings.
That's pretty brutal.
That is a beefy line, brother. Those are both like 6'4", 225 plus athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a little bit of Tuch's 200-foot game decline this year, but still, like that's part of why you trade for him is that aspect of his game. Plus, he scored like 30 goals the last 2 seasons, so. I get it. And that would be a very tough line to face, even though Tom Wilson's one of the most overrated players in all of NHL history. Fuck him.
What do you feel about what you got back for him? Alex Tuch, you knew he was going to walk out the door. I would love to call the front office smart, but the last second they were like, all right, fine, we'll give you $10 million for 7 years. So I don't know how smart Jarmo Kekalainen comes out of this one looking, but you didn't get much, but you got something for a guy that looked like he was leaving.
Yeah, I think like the problem was we probably had like our feet like in both pools, where we were like trying to field offers, but also like talking to him, trying to see what we can do to get him to come back, and it just wasn't there. When in hindsight, if we went all in on like earlier in the year, if it was settled, like all right, we can't come to terms on a number, so we're just going to go heavy on trying to trade you out, then the return probably would have been better. But in this case, it was back against the wall a week from free agency. We just got to get him out the door for something. And in that case, 3rd round pick, fine, we'll take it. Oh, and the UFA rights to the legendary David Kampf.
I do want to. He's the guy that wrote Jurassic Park, so there's that.
He also had this great book. The first word was mine. I don't know what this. It was like mine something. I can't remember.
Mine David.
Yeah, that was it. Mine David.
So we'll talk about this a little bit with the Bowen Byru trade when we get to it. I'm curious about what you think about the trajectory the Sabres appear to be going on, unless they're really gearing up for a LaMelo Ball trade. Because let me tell you something. Sometimes it looks like a team's just selling off assets, but they're really making room for something. But we'll get there.
Then they get LeVar's favorite child.
Yeah, what's LiAngelo up to right now? Mike, the Nashville Predators acquired Jack Drury, Chase Bradley, and a 2029 third-round pick from the Colorado Avalanche for Fyodor Svechnikov.
Yeah,
sorry.
Fyodor Svechnikov, yeah.
And Zachary Leroux.
I don't have a lot to say about this other than this was like new president of hockey ops, Chris McFarland, going back to get one of his guys we got in the Rantanen trade. He was I love me some 4th-line center, Jack Drury. Let's go get him.
That was my take from it. Like, Jack Drury's like a good piece to get when you're pushing for competing. I don't know if Nashville should be pushing to compete, but I guess
for Nashville,
they're kind of stuck in the middle. They're like bad, but they have a bunch of aging, expensive players that they can't sell.
Like fast forward, like Philippe Forsberg is like going to be remembered as that guy who put in a like bunch of pucks in net on a team that was never that good.
Is Philippe Forsberg going to be remembered?
Okay, if you want to go like a meaner, take a meaner take on that, meaner stance, fine. But all right.
Yeah. My favorite part about this also was reading McFarland talking about it. He was like, "We just really want to get a grinder down on that depth. We want to get a big body playing two-way hockey." And I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
yeah, you know, you didn't give up anything, so sure, but fucking calm down."
It's all down.
Mike, back to your fucking team. The Chicago Blackhawks acquire Bowen, Byru, and Jordan Greenway from the Buffalo Sabres for the 4th overall pick in the 2026 draft, a 2026 second, which is the 45th pick overall. It's the Islanders pick, and Louis Crevier.
That is such a French Canadian name, Louis Crevier.
Yeah, what if we just called him Louis Crevier?
That'd be the very American way to say it. Yes,
Louis Crevier.
Louis Crevier. Am I saying that right? Yeah, and that 45th pick was obviously the one that is now gone. That helped us get Olen Zellweger. Jordan Greenway was obviously he was thrown in there as a salary, like a cap dump for us to clear up more space. And I do like Jordan Greenway. Wish him the best. He missed a lot of last year with injury, and then when he came back, it was after we had got super hot and we got back in the lineup, and I was like, why? Like, why are you messing with stuff? But I still like Jordan Greenway and what he does, but deuces gooses. When this, like my Twitter app was constantly like, I think at some point it said to me, can you please stop with the amount of times I was refreshing it during this trade going on? Because it was just trickling out. It was like, Bowen Byram, he's going to Chicago. And I was like, all right. And then the next update was that we were getting the 4th overall pick, and that's all it took for like all of Twitter just to dunk on Kyle Davidson, like relentlessly. Because
like, for what it's worth, like not only did you get the 4th overall pick, but also like Crevier is not a bad defenseman.
No, he'll be on our 3rd pair. He's a big ass body, but he also actually does have like, from what I've like seeing more of him, watching a little more of his stuff, like he does have like low key like some speed and like good hands to him.
Yeah, I think they had him on their power play in and out throughout the season because they couldn't figure out what to do with their defensemen on their power play. Obviously, Byram now takes the power play 1 slot on the Blackhawks, but there was points during the season where Crevier, at the very least, was playing power play 2. I'm not sure if he ever got up to power play 1 because the power play 1 blue line, directing the power play, ended up just being Bedard because none of their defensemen could do shit.
Was Korchinski their power play 1 defenseman?
He was injured in and out of the lineup, but also ended up not being great on the power play for stretches. Like they had real struggles with their defensemen on the power play, but
that's not the only thing the Blackhawks had struggles with last year, buddy.
For instance, they also struggle with trading a reasonable amount to get a potential upside defenseman. Bowen Byram, I think, like is consistently now for his 3rd team being like, yeah, he's good, and if he just takes that next step. And I get that there was like no room for him at the top of the depth chart in Buffalo because if you guys haven't heard, the top 3 slots on Buffalo's defense are pretty set in stone. Got a real good defensive core there.
Especially with like Matthias Samuelsson taking this like big offensive jump last season.
Yeah.
It made Byram's stock a lot less valuable for us.
Yeah, and Byram was unhappy with that. He was not going to re-sign, and you trade him away and got the 4th pick that you can either use or flip. Which once again raises the question of hey Mike, what are the Sabres doing? You traded away Kesselring, Byram, and Tuch was out the door, but Kesselring, Byram, Greenway, and Tuch all out the door, all in trades. I'll give you that. Byram was going to be on an expiring deal, so the leverage was there now, and Tuch was a free agent. But still, that's a lot of ice minutes out the door for a team that supposedly is over the hump and wants to compete with your Montreals and your Carolinas and your Ottawa Senators.
Well, Kesselring was going to be an RFA, and he was just the odd man out the way he was in and out of the lineup, and like he wasn't like he was just the odd man out there, and so it was like, okay, we could give him a qualifying offer, take this to free agency, hope someone offer sheets him and get a little compensation, but it's like let's just go ahead and trade him now and get something back. So that I had no problem with the Kesselring trade. I don't have problems with any of the trades. Like Bowen Byram, it it was just clear. Like, yeah, we could have kept him for one more year, maybe pushed that trade to like the trade deadline, but at the end of the day, he wanted time on the top defensive pair, and he wanted to be the QB of power play one, and he wasn't going to get that in Buffalo. So we moved him, and we got a good return. So that's fine. Bowen Byram, like I kind of said to you, like a third of the teams in the league, could be on the top pair. Not all of them. He's an extremely offensive defenseman who is going to play his style, and that's just the way it is. At 25 years old, this is who he is. And he's kind of like, the term is pretty good to say like he's toolsy, and those guys you have to have in the right position, and if he doesn't have a line around him that's going to be able to make up for how aggressive he can get, it can get a little worrisome. um I do think it's funny just that Chicago, it's like, hey, you could have just taken like potentially like taken Chase Reed at 4, and yet you traded for a defenseman who's already hit his ceiling. He is who he is. Also, I'm not saying this is why Kyle Davidson gave up the 4th overall pick, but Bowen Byram was drafted 4th overall. So I don't know if he was dumb enough to be like, well, he's obviously worth 4th overall because he was drafted 4th overall.
I think that if Buffalo gets a player as good as Bowen Byram at 4, that is a success because he is going to be way cheaper than Bowen Byram, who next season, like now Chicago's in the bag, right? Like he's an expiring contract, and they're gonna have to pay him like $8 million plus a year.
Yeah, there's some like crazy numbers I've heard rumored that I'm like, that's not what Bowen Byram's worth. And I like Bowen Byram, but like I'm also honest about what he's good and not good at, and the situation. The fact that we got the 4th overall pick in that deal is pretty crazy. It's one of the things where, because we have 4 and 20, the Kesselring trade was done to move us up to from 27 to 20. Like I think there's a good chance 20 gets moved out in another trade, but 4, I feel it's like take it up until we're on the clock and see the offers, and if not, take the pick. Like if Caleb Mahaltra's there, you're getting what could potentially be, from what I'm hearing.
You think he's getting past Vancouver?
We'll see, but like they could get a really good player at 4, stick him in the system and see what happens, and then trade out 20 for something, and that would be totally fine as well.
Yeah,
I think Buffalo.
I quietly kind of think it's a loss if you make the pick at 4. Like I get the
Yeah.
justification of saying like if you can get a good player out there, get the player. But this Buffalo team, didn't make the playoffs for, some people are saying 15 years, and then they make the playoffs. They win a round. They push it to 7. They're a game away from the conference championship against the then future Stanley Cup champions, and now they've lost Mike Smith. I mean, they picked up Louis Crevier and Olen Zellweger, who are gonna eat up some time on the blue line, luckily. But if they can move 4 and 20 for like an actual dude right now, like a competent high level player, Zach Werenski, whatever, just like a real like actual player, Dylan Larkin. Right. You love Dylan Larkin.
Not for the 4th overall. Number 4 and 20. I don't know if I love Dylan Larkin that much.
But I think that's the direction the Buffalo should be looking. Obviously, don't like sell 4 low just to be like, we need a win now move. But I like, if they pick at 4, I'm gonna be a little disappointed by it. I'm gonna be a little disappointed that they didn't like go out there and get who's like the most 4 and 20 player available in the market. Jason Robertson.
Yeah. We have like the ammunition to go after that. As a matter of fact, if he says, yeah, we'll sign with you, because we'll talk about it in a minute. But
do you guys have $17 million in cap space to offer him?
Yeah, I don't know. But you kind of like said it there, that I think Buffalo is in a situation right now where they're very confident in the roster they have at forwards, mainly because they're very confident in guys like Hellenius is going to make the roster next year. Ostlund being healthy and being able to play the full season, plus Kulik. Like they're very confident in some of these young guys. Radim Murka, who was picked ninth overall, like there's a strong chance he makes the roster next year. So they're very confident in those guys, and they already got Zellweger to basically replace Byram. That's what he's going to do. He's going to be slotted in that spot. So they're in a situation where they're like, I think they want to move those things for something, but they're not going to get. Yarmo's not going to get taken to the cleaners for it because he feels pressured and ends up making a dumb move.
Yeah, you know what? Let's divert any additional Sabres talk we have to the third Sabres trade we have on the rundown here. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot.
But I do have some Jarmo Kekalainen anxieties right now.
We'll see.
Next up, Mike, the Washington Capitals acquired Jordan Kyrou for Connor McMichael, who I believe is what?
It's huge. Not the Connor McMichael part, it's the other part.
Yeah. That's why it really confused me after I said Connor McMichael. You said big, and I was like, what? I believe that is Will Ferrell's character name from Blades of Glory. Milton Gastrin and the 16th overall pick.
Yeah.
So basically, it was Jordan Kyrou for the 16th overall pick, if we're being honest.
No love for Connor McMichael. Disgusting.
Man, Washington is really pushing their chips in to be like, hey, Ovi, one more season, you could play third line center and score 15 goals.
Well, he's a left winger, so I don't know why he'd play third line center. But
yeah, I meant just third line forward. It'd be great if he switched to center in his age 41 season.
That'd be wild. They still haven't gotten an Ovi deal done yet, which is kind of interesting. Unless they have like a good rapport with him and his agent. And it's like, yeah, we're going to get to it. And they're like, yeah, no, we're just waiting for it.
Well, the good news is he's currently in Russia. So I'm sure they have a very easy line of communication going on.
Yeah, that means the KGB is going to be intercepting all those calls.
I will say he signaled very openly to the front office and staff that before he made a decision on his future, he wanted to see what they were going to do.
Oh, yeah. And this fits.
What they're going to do, it seems to be, is say, hey, what if we try to win the title this year?
God damn it!
I
was doing so well
for audio.
I was doing so well. They definitely like attacked an issue from last year where they just had like no offensive rush, and they got two guys who are very good on the rush.
Yeah,
like just add a big stick of dynamite to that offense that they desperately needed. So I get both these trades.
Kyrou and Tuch are good additions for what they want to do, and obviously they have a top 5 NHL player in Tom Wilson. So, I don't know, man. It looks like a pretty good team.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how things can change so much because the Capitals in general last season were just so blah and boring and not a fun team to watch or even talk about. But add those two guys and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, they could make some serious noise.
And they still have your favorite player in the NHL, Logan Thompson.
Yeah.
Can I ask you just an important legacy question here?
Yeah.
If Ovi comes back and the Capitals win the Cup, does that mean Ovechkin makes the Hall of Fame finally? Would that finally push him over the line?
I think he's already going to make it.
What?
Yeah.
Has he hit 500 goals yet? I know that's kind of like the barrier. Is he at 500 goals?
Hot take. Yeah, he has almost double that, I think.
Mike, the Ottawa Senators acquire William Eklund, Kasperi Haltunen, and Brandon Svoboda.
Svoboda.
Thank you.
Got it.
Remember when that was the only place you could bet online before all the legal gambling? You had to go to
That's right.
Svoboda.lv.
Svoboda.com, yeah.
From San Jose for the 9th overall pick. And my first question with this is, why?
Why?
Why'd you trade 9? Like, William Eklund's worth that for you?
I mean, William Eklund's he's a young player.
Yeah, he is a young player.
You don't believe in the Eklund, I'm guessing?
I don't know, man. Like, I get this is like a 3-man draft, and then it has like a long tail, right? Like, that's what people are saying. There's the top 3 players, and then like 4 to like 16, and then a bunch of other dudes, right? Like, it's generally not like the strongest draft class in the world. It's got like guys, but no top talent. Um, so I get that like trading 9 in this draft makes a lot of sense, but like you couldn't have gotten more. Like, is William Eklund considered to be that valuable of an asset?
I will say that I feel like they felt a pressure to, after trading out Tkachuck, they felt a pressure to like do something, to be like, nah, we're not rebuilding or taking a step back. So they go out and they get Eklund, who I get it, former 7th overall pick, 23 years old. Um, he's still like, he had 15 goals and 53 points in 78 games last year. He's not replacing what Tkachuck gave you.
Yeah.
So I think they sold that 9th pick a little low. I'm not saying crazily low, but they sold it a little bit low.
Yeah, and like I don't know, man. It's a rock and hard place, and we'll talk about this more with the Tkachuck trade itself. It just 9 feels a little high to me for a guy who, probably benefited a lot from the talent around him last year.
And I think it says something that San Jose looked at it. They have so much young talent, and they looked at Eklund as the expendable one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there's something to that. But yeah, like you said, we can touch on it more in the Brady Tkachuck trade.
All right, now we got a one with a bunch of pieces. I don't even know if you call this a big one or not. But Calgary acquires Simon Nemec and Maxim Yasiplenko, or Tisiplenko. Close, Tisiplenkov, something like that.
Yeah, Tisiplenkov. Just say it really fast, and then no one can tell if you're right or not. Tisiplenkov.
From New Jersey for Etienne Morin, a 2nd-round pick in 2026. And 2 top 10 protected 1st-round picks in 27 and 28.
Yeah, and they're both just, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they're both probably gonna confer and look at them, because I believe they're like a Vegas and Colorado or something like that.
Yeah, it's Vegas conditional first, Colorado in 28, Colorado conditional first in 27, and the Rangers pick this year, which is number 35 overall. Mm. Right now, according to the cap experts, Simon Nemec is projected as an RFA to be around $8 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Nemec's a good defenseman. And he's young at 22.
He is consistently kind of in the Bowen Byru camp of them going, in a year now, this guy's going to break out.
Yeah. It's an interesting move for Calgary. It's also an interesting move for New Jersey, and it's like, so what's the next move?
Yeah, if you're Calgary, this makes a lot of sense for me, because you're just taking reps at the plate, right? Grab every slightly distressed asset under 25 years old or 26 years old that you can, and if a couple of them hit, boom, you're in the money. Especially with the glut of extra picks they have.
Yeah.
But for New Jersey, I guess New Jersey was just like, we got to make room for Luke Hughes to send.
When I saw them make this trade, I was like, oh, they're loading up to go get the third. They're loading up to get Quinn. But like, the Minnesota's GM came out the other day and said, oh no, like, we're re-signing Quinn, we're extending Quinn Hughes. It's just we're working out like the final terms on the length of the contract. And he sounded very confident in saying they're going to get the deal done. But when New Jersey made this trade, I was like, oh shit, they're gearing up to go get the third Hughes brother. But now I don't know like what they're doing. Are they just going to sit on those 2 1st-round picks? I don't know. New Jersey's in a position where it's like, you got like Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, you got some guys to where that fan base, and I'd imagine that ownership, which is once again your boy Josh Harris, correct?
Is he's Philly and Washington. I don't know if he owns the Devils, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought you owned the Devils. I can double check that real fast. But I feel like they're in a situation where they're expected to put something together to compete on a certain level, and this move doesn't do that unless those 2 1st-round picks are getting flipped for something else.
Yeah, I think I basically agree with that. I don't really have much to add. I'll vamp for just a second while you Google the Devils.
To be fair, it's not Josh Harris, but I was 50% there. They're owned by Harris Blitzer. sports and entertainment. Oh, the
Yeah.
franchise was purchased by co-founder Josh Harris. Yes,
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah, Harris Blitzer is his company.
Who's
Or like,
Blitzer? Oh, David Blitzer. Okay.
it's Wolf Blitzer from CNN. Hey, I forgot to mention this when we talked about it, but do you know the Blues have the most picks in the draft with 13? And in the first round alone, they have 11, 15, 16, and 29.
I feel like if they make all those, that means Zach Werenski's definitely getting traded.
That's the Blues, not the Blue Jackets. The Blues.
Oh, the Blue Jackets, the Blues. And they have made no trades, have they?
They traded Jordan Kyrou.
Like I said, they made one really fucking big trade. And now we're just waiting for the news that the Sabres moved all these assets they got for Robert Thomas, so we finally have a 1C. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go. All right, next up,
Any
Mike.
day now, any day.
So I think we're back into nothing burger territory here for a little bit. But next up, the Florida Panthers acquire Brady Tkachuck from Ottawa for the 9th overall pick, the 25th overall pick, a first rounder in 2029, and a second rounder in 2027. That 2029 first is the Panthers' conditional. I think it's top 10 protected. The 2027th is the Panthers' second. The 2026 first rounder, they got 9 from Florida, and they got the Tampa first.
The 2029 is top 10 protected as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if you said that.
Which the Panthers acquired that first by flipping Mackie Samoskevich.
I just want to force you to keep trying.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Samsevich, but it doesn't fucking matter.
It's got a K in there.
Oh, yeah, Samoskevich. You're right. I'm sorry.
Also, the Senators then flipped number 9 in that deal we just talked about for William Eklund, Kapper Haltunen, and Brandon Bovada.lv.
So that makes it like a little bit like better to be like, yeah, we like 9 for Eklund may have been a little bit of an overpay, but we still have 25. But then again, those picks are extremely far apart. So yeah, I don't know.
Hey, can I just say real quick that there's a lot of people out there being like the especially a certain kind of person, typically a liberal leaning person who has some hate in their heart for the Tkachucks because they thought that Trump joking about women was funny.
They were popping champagne with Kash Patel.
Yeah, to be fair, not the best look in the world, but it's hockey. That's who these players are. I think that Canadian fans would be shocked by what some Canadians think of Donald Trump.
Yeah, you didn't respond to my Kash Patel face.
Well, I didn't realize you were doing a Kash Patel face. There you go. Guys got bug eyes. Got bug eyes and a giant coffee mug. And a lot of people are like, "Wow, you gave up all that for the third best player on the Ottawa Senators." And like, I get it. He's probably their third best player is correct, but they have
the third best player on the Ottawa Senators. Did I hear that right? Let me double check. Who are the first 2 better players than the Ottawa Senators?
The 2 guys that almost won the Selke, right?
Better than Brady Tkachuck. You're telling me those 2 guys are better players than Sir Brady Tkachuck, Sir Sloth himself.
I'm surprised you didn't have a GIF queued up for that one.
I know. I'm mad that I didn't think to do that.
Tim Stützle, I think, is inarguably better than Brady Tkachuck, and then it's your distance on certain other players. Jake Sanderson in the conversation. If you're talking two-way play, obviously outside of Stützle on the two-way play, Shane Pinto.
If you put Shane Pinto ahead of Brady Tkachuck, I'm flying to Chicago to kick you in the nuts.
I think Stützle is inarguably better.
Pinto.
I think
Pinto Bean himself.
I think that if you are correctly ranking Senators players, it probably goes Stützle, Tkachuck, and then Sanderson / Pinto.
I'd go Tkachuck, Stützle, but I guess that's just splitting hairs, so fair enough.
Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of caterwauling coming from a liberal sect of hockey reporting because they don't like Brady Tkachuck.
What does that mean?
And because they don't like USA players forcing their way out of Canada. And if I may, Mike, can I call out Down Goes Brown, Sean McIndoe here real quick? Can I start an open feud between us and Puck Soup?
Please do. People
Sean
listen
McIndoe,
to our podcast more than theirs, probably.
Sean McIndoe had an entire rant where he talked about how the NHL has a problem because these American players are forcing their way out of Canada and into America. And it's just because they want to go to these tax-free states, and they want to go play with their brothers, and they want to go to states where people love Donald Trump. And let me just say this. First off, and most importantly, they want to go win rings. That is what players want to do. That is what Matthew Tkachuk wanted to do. That is what Johnny Gaudreau wanted to do. That is what Mitch Marner, not an American, wanted to do. Jack Eichel wanted to do that. Guess what? He didn't move from Canada to the United States. He moved from the United States to the United States. Dylan Larkin wants to go win rings. These players want to go to places where they can win a championship. That is the most important thing. Second, Canada makes up so much revenue for the league and Canadians are going to care less. The numbers, the ratings in Canada were so low this postseason because all the Canadian teams got eliminated and everyone's flocking for Canada. How about all the Canadian teams are run like complete shit? And that's the problem, not that fucking Florida doesn't have income tax. I mean, look at Washington State. Washington State doesn't have income tax. No one wants to go play for the Kraken. Let me just run through the Canadian teams here real quick, Mike. And you tell me why Brady Tkachuck should have really wanted to stay in Canada.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, this whole second conversation that people are having about, like, honoring your contract deal. Yeah, as soon as it's a player that you want to stay where he is leaving, suddenly it's honor your contract deal. Every other time it's, no, the players should have more power, or why are we rooting for the owners? Fuck you, people. But let's go through these Canadian teams real quick, eh?
I'm loving this rant so much.
The Ottawa Senators that Brady Tkachuck forced his way out of, they got swept in the fucking playoffs and are in the hardest division in hockey. Yeah. Let's see them go win a cup. The Toronto Maple Leafs, who spent a generational prospect in Austin Matthews floundering in the playoffs and are now just on a cusp of a rebuild. Yeah, that
was all Mitch Marner's fault.
Yeah, that's all Mitch Marner's fault. Let's have Jack Eichel go demand a trade to there. The Vancouver Canucks, rebuild. Calgary Flame, rebuild. Edmonton Oilers, the pinnacle of poorly run franchises in the NHL. We thought it was bad that Vancouver was wasting Austin Matthews. How about the fact that Edmonton wasted Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's entire prime, and now they brought in fucking Mike Babcock to fix it?
Thank you.
The Winnipeg Jets, the smallest market in Canada, cold as fuck, and no shot at the cup. Yeah, why didn't Brady Tkachuck demand a trade to Winnipeg? And of course, Montreal is French-Canadian. So what Canadian team was Brady Tkachuck supposed to want to play for so bad? What Canadian team do you want Zach Werenski to force his way to? Guess what? You're coming just off the cusp of getting the most valuable defensive player in this free agency pool to force his way to Canada. No one's losing their shit over that. He went from a state income tax free state to Toronto by his own choice. But no, it's obviously the state income tax rule is the problem here. It's obvious that Brady Tkachuck just wants to go play with his brother, and there's no other reason he wanted to go to Florida. It's obviously an America problem, not a Canadian problem.
Yeah, and first of all, Elliot Friedman fueled some of this with his reports about how that some of these American players after winning gold felt like their own fan bases didn't like them, and that's why they wanted to leave. And I don't buy into that. And Elliot Friedman's very good at what he does, but I'm calling bullshit and all that. I didn't hear a single boo for Brady Tkachuck from an Ottawa fan after the Olympics was over.
They did boo the national anthem.
Okay, that's true. But the national anthem was mostly booed because the current president was like, yeah, Canada's going to be the 51st state.
Yeah.
And I just pooped my pants. Geriatric fuck. Anyway. But point being, I think that is a really overblown thing. I completely agree. And I think it's ridiculous. Like you basically just hit on that. Okay, players want to leave Canadian teams. There's currently one team and two players that have any reasonable expectations to be in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. I'm talking about the Canadiens and then Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I'm not even going to say the Edmonton Oilers altogether, just those two players because they basically are the team. And once again, they just hired what most people, not just me, not just pundits, not just literal former players are saying is a piece of shit in Mike Babcock. So that's literally going to be a dumpster fire we're going to get to watch roll down a hill. And I'm looking forward to it personally. So yeah, I agree with your take that this whole thing is overblown, and people who are going to fuel into it and say this is the reason is like whatever. If Matty Tkachuk was on Winnipeg and they were a Stanley Cup team, guess where Brady Tkachuk's trying to force his way to? Yeah. Winnipeg. So piss off.
Yeah, and guess what? Quinn Hughes didn't force his way out of Vancouver because he hates fucking Canadians.
It's because they suck.
It's because they suck. Welcome to the fucking NHL where players want to win cups. And unless the player forcing his way out is 51 years old, he wasn't sitting around watching any Canadian teams win a Stanley Cup.
Everybody who's a fan, pardon me, any fan of any sport says they want player empowerment until players start to get it.
Yeah.
And they piss and moan once it happens.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Ottawa, the team that just Brady Tkachuck forces way off, that everyone's like, oh, they're turning around, they're so well run. They have the 32nd pick in the draft that they don't get to trade because they traded a player without bothering to check if he had a no trade clause.
And they're well run. Does someone want to explain that to me? Because they've had the same problems for multiple years in having a shallow ass weak blue line with only like two defenders worth a doo-doo and no goaltending. They've had that problem for multiple years, and we're going to sit there and say they're well run because they got good draft picks because they were not well run for years. And then you're going to sit there and say, oh, they didn't address their key problems for multiple years, but they're well run because they sucked and got Brady Tkachuck and some other guys. That's not being well run.
Yeah,
that's like
think,
saying, the Sabres got Jack Eichel,
right,
so they're well run. No, they weren't well run, and Jack Eichel got his ass out of town as fast as possible. And to this day, no Sabre fan should blame him for that. The same way, I don't think Ottawa fans should blame Brady Tkachuck for wanting to get the hell out of there, go play with his brother, and maybe win something. I don't know.
But Brady Tkachuck was bad against Carolina, beat them for a gold medal, and likes Donald Trump. So obviously he's.
Allegedly. We haven't seen his voting
Allegedly.
record. Right?
Look at that guy's face. That is the face of a guy that, well, he didn't vote for Donald Trump because he forgot, but he would have voted for Donald Trump.
He showed up like a month later at where his voting place was. They're like, what are you doing here?
He had Rocky Road, right? Rocky Road? Yeah.
Rocky Road?
Mike, you have any more thoughts on this Brady Tkachuck trade? I want, because of the outcry from fucking Jesse Myrtle and Sean McIndoe and Elliot Friedman, I want Florida to go 82-0 and win the cup.
my only last point, then we can move on because we've been on it for a minute, is just that once again, Bill Zito shows why he's such a good GM is because he could have easily just sat back and been like, oh, let's try to figure out goaltending with Bob gone. But if we're healthy next year, we'll be a way better team. He was like, no. Let's go out and make a move and get better. And they did. Yeah. They got substantially better by adding Brady Tkachuck. That team's going to be a
obviously now, as we know from Canadian markets, they're going to trade for Connor Hellebuck, who's going to cut his salary in half and play all 82 games. So
yeah, and he's going to have a helmet that says "fuck Canada" on it, apparently.
And it's all just because Winnipeg was so nice to him, with their 11 fans and 11 months of winter.
Sorest losers I've ever seen in the world.
You fuckers lose one gold medal, and they just can't handle it.
Right.
They're going to spend the next 4 years caterwauling about how America's ruining hockey.
It was our third. All right, let us enjoy the moment. God damn.
Fucking losers. All right, Mike.
Fucking losers.
Speaking of some fucking losers going to Canada, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Darren Raddysh for a 2026 fifth-round pick going back to Tampa Bay. I like Darren Raddysh a lot. They also signed him to an extension, $8.5 million for AAV over 8 years. 30 years old. That's kind of on the Alex Tuch contract track, but I like Darren Raddysh a lot last year. I do not think last year was a fluke, even though it was a 30-year-old breakout season with 70 points, nearly doubling his previous high. But what'd you say?
Contract year bump.
Contract year bump is definitely an argument. I would be surprised if he is a 70-point-a-year guy from now on, but I think that he's solidly in that 50 to 70 range, and he could be like, defenseman 1 for this team who's been searching for that for a while.
I will give Jacob Chaykout credit that he walked in and maybe he like looked through the records and said, "Oh, these past GMs kept trying to like at the deadline grab these defensemen that were going to be the difference." Like my my boy Brandon Carlo, who I thought was a stud. And he was like, "Well, what if I just go grab one who just came off a phenomenal season? Fuck it, let's go do it." And all he had to give up was a 5th round pick to do it.
And
great trade,
8-year extension.
Right. The contract, depending on what happens in the future, it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, that could age poorly. But you can say that about a lot of trades. Then you can also say like, well, cap's going up. But I like the move for Toronto. That right there, that move showed me like, okay, they're not looking at this as like, let's start taking calls on Matthews, let's rebuild this. They're sticking with it to try to make something happen. I mean, Matthews is still going to leave when his contract's up, but
I'm personally just concerned that Toronto is ruining hockey by bringing in all the 30-year-old defensemen. You know,
all the 30-year-old defensemen.
That's really what seems to be going on here.
Yeah.
Mike, closing out our trio of Buffalo Sabres trades.
Yeah.
Michael Kesselring is traded to the San Jose Sharks, along with pick 27 in the draft in return for Edmonton's first from San Jose, which is the 20th pick in the draft. We basically already litigated this one.
Yeah.
Do you have any additional thoughts that you hadn't already shared previously?
No, like I said, just with the way Lundy does things, Kesselring was the odd man out. They didn't feel the need to go through the motions of being like, here's a qualifying offer. And then Kesselring being like, I want to go to arbitration. And then waiting for someone to offer sheet him. They're just like, we'll just go ahead and get something. So yeah, basically what I said earlier.
Yeah, they wanted Kesselring to be a guy. He wasn't, which is fair. Sometimes you need a guy in your system and that guy's not there. And also Kesselring is a guy who had very different production on Utah. And the bet was he was going to continue from there. But you got Jack Doan in that deal anyways, so it all worked out.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, Kesselring, I think when he was in the lineup, did play well. And when the Paterka trade first happened, Kesselring was like the thing we got back. Mm-hmm. But then Josh Doan broke out, and so he was the actual thing.
So can I give you my Jarmo Kekalainen anxiety now?
Yeah, what's your Jarmo anxiety? Because I think he's got something on. I still believe he's cooking something right now.
I don't get why we have faith in Jarmo Kekalainen.
That's also fair.
What has he done? He showed up to a team in the middle of the season that then got really hot, despite him doing nothing to get them there. And then in the offseason, I'll give him the Bowen Byram trade. Getting a 4th for Byram is good business, but during the offseason, he's mostly been trading away players for draft picks.
He landed that trade for what's-his-face from St. Louis, the defenseman, but he didn't want to come.
Okay. I mean, we're counting empty hands at that point.
Yeah, the big thing why Sabres fans are like, yeah, Jarmo, is because we finally have an adult in the building again. I'm not talking from an age standpoint compared to Kevin Adams, who is he was like a glad-handed yes man to Terry Pegula at a time when a liberal president got into office and it wasn't good for Pegula's fracking business. So he gutted the front office in Buffalo to save money. And he gave it to Kevin Adams, who went from like working in like the marketing or some shit department into becoming a GM. And literally any trade talks we had with any team, they didn't take him seriously. And so I think that's why people were like, hell yeah, Jarmo. We have someone who actually people will respect when they're on a phone with him. And I believe in him.
Yeah, it's a little bit like A-Rod and Mark Laurie in Minnesota, where it's just better than Glenn Taylor. So no matter what they do, and mind you, their moves have hit, but no matter what they do at first, you're just like, thank God it's just not that guy.
I'm saying when Austin Matthews is a Sabre because he's the latest American player who hates Canada and wants them to die and forces
ruining the
his
country,
way out.
ruining the league. Mike, if all these players leave Canada, there's gonna be no revenue left. No one's gonna watch the sport. Yes, I understand that this Stanley Cup had higher ratings than any of the previous ones in the 2020s because more Americans are watching than ever. But if Canadians stop watching, they'll lose 10% of their viewership.
Exactly.
Fucking losers. Man, it must be so hard to be crying that hard for, what is it, 5 months now?
Their entire lives?
Yeah. Must be really hard, just to wake up every day and sob as hard as you can into your fucking Matt Sundin jersey. Mike, final trade that I have on the ticker here to talk about. The ticker truck trade. Oh, I guess we have two more. One that I don't have any notes on. Ross Colton for Isaac Posh to to Nashville in exchange for Magnus Krona and 2 third-round picks in 26 and 27 to Colorado.
Another McFarland signing depth guy who's like, we got to go get Russ Calton. I love me some Russ Calton.
Yeah, do you think like Ross Colton and Jack Drury showed up and McFarland was standing there and they just did like a little group hug and started plotting what they're going to do with Nashville? Or
I'm shocked that like he was so happy getting Drury and Russ Colton that he didn't do like a Miami Heat big 3 level like press conference.
Oh my god, it'd be so great though if Ross Colton came out and did like a decision, like he had like ESPN was like,
taking my talents.
What is Ross Colton gonna do?
Taking my talents to Nashville.
I got no notes on this one outside of the fun McFarland shit. Hey, so Sakic is just like the GM again, right?
I didn't double check. Probably, I don't know.
No, like he is, right? Like Sakic's he went from being the president of hockey ops with Chris McFarland as his GM, and then McFarland left, and Sakic went, I'm hiring the new GM, Joe Sakic.
Oh yeah, Joe Sakic. Yeah, he is. He has had that official title again. It makes you wonder, like if McFarland does an absolute shit job in Nashville, you're like, oh, Sakic was still just making all the decisions.
How could he do a shit job? He's just trading for Colorado Avalanche players one at a time. In 3 years, he'll just have the 2025 Colorado Avalanche.
Dude, yeah, I know. Like Jack Drury, Russ Colton. I keep calling him
Nelson's
Russ.
Next.
Yeah. Fleet Forsberg. Like that team's winning 8 cups, I think. Pecorine standing on his head.
That team is about to need help getting up a flight of stairs. Mike, the final trade on the board that kicked off all this madness. Your Philadelphia Flyers acquired Joseph Woll and Simon Benoit. It's Bennett, but you know. For Samuel Ersson, who is then flipped again, Emile Andre, and a 2026 third-round pick going back to Toronto. You know, this is really notable because Ersson was flipped again, and you know, this is just the trade that kicked off the madness.
This is notable just because it's hilarious how short of a window there was in Toronto where people were like, Joseph Woll's the guy.
Joseph Woll spends so much time injured that they should start to call him Michael Kesselring.
Damn. Multiple shots fired.
I just like that Philly put out a statement afterwards where they were like, we're really happy to have Joseph Woll in here as a rotational backup behind our starter, Dan Vladar. And I was like, Vladdy. Really doubling down on making sure that everyone knows Dan Vladar is a starter next year. You don't want there to be a goalie controversy with fucking Joseph Woll.
Do they get? I guess we can get. Well, I'll wait for this question in the next segment. So go ahead.
That's all I got, Mike. Any other notes on any trades that we didn't hit? I double checked. No new trades since we started the pod.
Nope. I've been refreshing my Twitter notifications. There's just a lot of college football stuff right now.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say you've been refreshing your Google Doc. Like, it was going to get added. I was like, brother, one of us has to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, let's talk about some people that are still on the market, though. These are players that are potentially going to get traded. We're not talking free agency yet. Free agency we'll talk next week. We're probably going to do 2 hockey pods next week, one right before free agency and one right after, I'm guessing.
Sure.
Mike says sure. But let's go through some of the top names available on trade boards still. For starters, a bunch of Americans here, which means they're going from Canadian markets to American markets, thus ruining... Oh, I'm sorry, wait, they're all in American markets and they still want to get traded. How weird is that?
They hate Canada so much they want to leave the American teams.
Jason Robertson hates Canada so much that he thinks Dallas is part of it.
He's in like one of the 2 teams farthest away from Canada, and he's still so goddamn angry.
That's why he didn't want to go to Seattle. It was too close to Canada.
Way too close.
Mike, Jason Robertson, probably getting traded. The reports are he's an RFA, I should say. An RFA, I should say. The reports are that they had agreed to terms with an offer to trade him to the Seattle Kraken, in which he would receive an extension for a record-breaking $15 million AAV over 8 years. And Jason Robertson said, nope.
If you're Seattle, like, how low is your self-esteem right now? It's like, we offered to give $15 million.
Do you think you're starting to think about, like, if you can flip these players into being a basketball team? Just open the Supersonics back up?
It's going to start next year. Like, we're now the Sonics. And we also just traded for Jeremy Sochin.
Yeah, do you think like someone's gonna show up to Climate Pledge early in the season, and it's just gonna be a basketball rink, and they're like, "Oh, we forgot to freeze the ice." Oh, Shane Wright's just wearing like basketball shorts and a jersey, and you're like, "I guess we're gonna have to play basketball."
If you're watching a Kraken game and they cut to like Gary Payton, like, watch out. You're about
Deadlift
to
shrimp,
again.
just putting on the goalie pads. So now Chicago seems to be in talks for Jason Robertson, and might I suggest that Dallas could use a player like Bowen Byru on their team.
That'd be hilarious. The craziest thing I didn't mention during the Chicago Byram trade, which kind of connects to this, so maybe Robertson would make sense, is just that, like, if they wanted to actually do something productive to build this team around Bedard, that they're still trying to do, it's like, take your tiny star center and get him some fucking dudes. Like, they should have been calling Buffalo about Alex Tuch. Get him some guys that could play 200-foot hockey to put around Bedard, but instead they were like, let's go ahead and get like Byram, which I don't totally get. Same, like, so I guess Robertson would work. And then I'll
could they trade
keep
for
ranting and say the greatest player in Ottawa Senators history, you said? Yeah. This Robertson situation is getting interesting, with us being days away from free agency. Because if they get to free agency, obviously, if they don't get a trade done by free agency, Dallas will go ahead and throw him a qualifying offer just to stop him from being a UFA. Mm-hmm. But if you'd have to imagine an offer sheet's going to be double digits. So, like, for example, based on the scale set this year for RFA compensation, if that offer sheet is $11.939 million and up, it would cost that team 4 first-round picks. No one's doing that. So it's basically get a trade done either before free agency or after, or you have to, and apparently after the Kraken were like, or after he was like, no, I'm not fucking going to Seattle. I hate fish. Dallas's new thing was they were circling back to other teams who were interested, and they were also keeping communications going about re-signing him. At this point, I don't think you're re-signing him. We've gotten too far along in the process. You're not re-signing him, and no team is going to give up the 4 first-round picks if they know they can hold your feet to the fire to say you got to trade him. So I think he's getting traded at some point, whether that's now or free agency starts and his RFA rights once again gets traded. He's getting traded for something less than for 4 first-round picks.
Is this like a Jason Robertson thing, or is this like, for some reason, people don't like Jason Robertson thing? Like, he was left off Team USA. The guy is a perennial 40-goal scorer. He plays 82 games every fucking year. He's like an 80 to 100-point guy basically every season since he became a full-time starter.
Great player.
Like, is this a Jason Robertson thing where Jason Robertson says, like, I'm worth $15 million and I'm like a heart-level star, or is this a people don't like Jason Robertson for some reason?
So it's like two things. Is people could not like the fact that he wants as much money as he wants. Like, that could be the sticking point, is asking price, with the exception of Seattle, because he was like, nah, you can give me all the money in the world, but once again, I hate fish and I hate
Seattle Sounders.
Sam Darnold really pisses me off. The other thing is, maybe teams are all just racist and they're like, he's Asian. What's that about?
I mean,
those are only two things I can think of.
Kyler Yamamoto's out of the league, so
exactly. So I mean, Dallas would like to keep him, but if his asking price really is $15 million or around that, I can understand them being like, dude, we just gave Mikko Rantanen a shitload. Like, what do you want from us? And Jason Robertson's agent's like, hey, cap's going up.
Yeah, cap's going up. All right, we got to keep it moving here. So let's go with simply, if you are the 33rd NHL team, or let's say if you're a team with cap space that's made 0 moves, a la the Boston Bruins, Buy or sell Jason Robertson?
Buy.
Yeah, I think so. I think you buy Jason Robertson. I think you buy Jason Robertson at $15 million a year because, Mike, I don't know if you've heard, but the cap's going up. Mike, next up, Darnell Nurse, who currently 9.25 a year with 4 years remaining, pretty overpaid, with a no movement clause. Can I tell you my favorite thing about this Nurse contract?
What?
Is that, like, Darnell Nurse requested a trade, but from the outside, it really seems like every day the Edmonton Oilers just went to him and went, so you want to get traded? 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 Until he went, yeah, I'll get traded. And they went, Darnell Nurse wants out.
It's me when I play, like, my GM in NHL, and when players have no moves, you have to, like, talk to them, and you'll do it, and they'll be like, no, I want to be in this team, and it'll be like, player morale -10, and I'll be like, well, if I keep asking, eventually it'll hit 0, and they'll say yes.
Like, every day, the first thing Darnell Nurse woke up to was a text from, oh my God, who's our GM? Not Stan Bowman.
There's GM. Stan Bowman, you're right.
Okay, yeah.
How does he still have a job?
Every day, Darnell Nurse wakes up to a text from Stan Bowman saying, hey, you want to get traded? So we don't need to really break down Darnell Nurse. He's obviously overpaid. He has a no-move clause, so he gets to pick his destination, but he has requested a trade. If you are, once again, a team with cap space that has done nothing, a la the Boston Bruins, buy or sell.
Right. But the problem is all the teams on his list are probably Stanley Cup contending teams, and they're like, we don't have a lot of cap space to begin with, and we're not going to use up 9.25 million of it on Darnell Nurse.
Yeah. So when his list that he turns in says like Vegas and Florida and Carolina are
the 87 Oilers.
Is the Canadian media going to be like, God damn, more Americans trying to wait? What do you mean Darnell Nurse is an American?
Yeah, I think he's playing the next season. Maybe he gets moved at the deadline if they retain, but I don't think he's going.
There's no way that the Oilers can retain, right?
That's the only way they move this, I think.
4.12 for 4 years to not pay Darnell Nurse to play hockey for you? Like,
I'm
let me say this.
not paying.
It's kind of like the Seth Jones thing. Darnell Nurse at $4 million is a very good defenseman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And no, I didn't just compare him to Seth Jones because they're both black.
Wow.
Mike, Mason McTavish with $7 million AAV for the next 5 years. No movement restriction. You can trade him for whatever you want. You can trade him for Jason Robertson right now. How the mighty have fallen, you know?
What do you mean?
Mason McTavish was like going to be the guy for them.
I still love Mason McTavish. That's probably why Anaheim threw him out there, because they feel like they can still get a good return on him.
But they feel like they can get a return on him, right? Like right now, if you went to them and said, "Hey, we wanted to acquire," I can't remember their Bennett Sinicki. What do you want for him? They'd probably just hang up the phone.
Yeah. But if no GM should ever hang up the phone, at least listen to the offer.
Well, yeah, if they said, well, wasn't you Connor McDavid in a first for Bennett Sinicki?
Exactly.
But Mike, if you were a team with cap space that has done nothing, someone like the Boston Bruins,
Jesus,
buy or sell on Mason McTavish?
I'd definitely buy on Mason McTavish. Still very young and a good potential. The Rangers being interested allegedly, it makes sense because I think Chris Drury, their GM, is making moves that say, hey, we're going to go into a slight rebuild. All Rangers fans on Twitter hate Chris Drury, by the way, and I think it's because they're just New York sports fans who think every year they should be winning championships and they can't handle a rebuild. The Blues, maybe I get it if they're going rebuild and they think he gets in his later 20s, he's in his full-on prime, and then we also rebuild to it, I guess. But I mean, I'd be open to Mason McTavish to the Sabres for the right price. So I'm not
Flyers. How do you feel about that?
I'm not emptying that. I'm still waiting for the Flyers to re-sign Zegras. We'll see what happens there.
They don't need to if they get Mason McTavish.
True. That would be funny if they were like, we don't want this former Duck because we want this former Duck.
And I can almost guarantee you where Bennett Sinicki is going to go after that.
Yeah.
Mike, old man Robert Thomas, 8.125, over 5 remaining on his contract. He has a no trade clause currently.
Yeah, I don't even know if I should have put him on the list just because talks about Robert Thomas have completely went dead. So I don't know. But that would be funny just because St. Louis is becoming just like the Nashville Predators and that they're going to. Well, no. Nashville's still delusionally thinking they can compete. St. Louis has taken the place of Vancouver for the past like 3 years. Like for years, Vancouver was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They can't decide if they're trying to rebuild. St. Louis is now that team. They traded Kyrou, but if you're going to trade Kyrou, I'm going to probably trade Robert Thomas and just completely blow this shit up.
I will say, it appears to be, as of about an hour ago, that St. Louis said that Colton Parayko and Robert Thomas are unavailable.
Then why trade Kyrou?
Fuck if I know.
I don't get it.
I get it because I guess Robert Thomas is a center, right? That's what you would say?
Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know. That's
or maybe you're just saying that to chase the price up. But if you're going into a rebuild, sell your 26-year-old, probably on most contending teams, a 2C, but sell him now while you can.
I think, he's not. I don't think he's going anywhere. But just look forward to come trade deadline there being constant Robert Thomas news drops from scoops from the insiders.
Mike, next up, Morgan Riley, who has a 7.5 AAV with 4 years remaining on his contract.
Morgan Riley.
No movement clause. What'd you say?
No one wants. It's similar to the Nurse situation. At 7.5 AAV for the teams he's probably looking to go for with his no movement clause, I don't think a deal gets done for Morgan Riley as much as the Maple Leafs may try.
I think a deal gets done. I think the return is going to be not great. But that being said, what do you expect? He's 32 years old. He is not a top pair defenseman, and he had 36 points last year.
Yeah.
And he cost $7 million. Although, cap's going up.
Right.
Mike, future Buffalo Sabre Matthew Knies at 7.75 with 5 years remaining and no protection. No protection on his contract till 2029.
Pour gasoline on myself and set myself on fire if we trade for fucking Matthew Knies.
Dude, he's 23 years old.
I don't give a shit.
How is he that young on a second deal? How is he? He's so young.
You should see not serious people, but fans on social media throwing out their mock trades, especially Toronto fans, their mock trades for Matthew Knies. They're 77 first round picks, Connor McDavid, prime Wayne Gretzky. Fuck off, dude. What are we doing? Matthew Knies? This is what we're going to go crazy over Matthew Knies. We're going to go crazy over a 23 goal score? Stop. Just stop.
Would Matthew Knies be on the second power play unit for Buffalo?
Second power play, yeah.
Okay.
He would probably be on our second. He might be on our second. He'd probably be on our second line, maybe fluctuate between second and third, depending on how the season went. But I just want to point out that he is American. All right. So obviously.
Yeah. So he's going to Florida or Vegas.
Toronto and all of Canada.
Yeah. He's the reason the league's in the tank.
Yep. That's it.
Any day now, they're going to get passed up by Major League Lacrosse because of Matthew Knies.
If I think Knies isn't moving because I think Toronto's probably making his asking price too high, to bring it back to a serious note from all my joking.
There also isn't a real reason for them to move him. Like I said,
exactly.
He's Jason Tatum. He's the perennial 18-year-old in the league. And even if you're going into a rebuild, say it takes 5 years to rebuild, guess what? Matthew Knies will be 28 on the other side of that, or you can trade him in the last year of his deal. There's just no reason to move him right now.
Absolutely no reason, which is probably why Toronto's putting his asking price high, because they're we don't need to move this dude.
Or
so unless you offer something crazy.
Because it's John Chayka and the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're going to end up trading him for a 5th round pick.
Isn't John Chayka only 18 as well?
I can't wait for him to have sex for the first time.
Yeah.
John Chayka.
I'm so happy during that next press conference.
Another American on the trade board, Connor Hellebuyck. I believe it's have you heard of this guy?
Vaguely.
8.5 by 5 remaining on his contract. He is on the older edge, and he has a no movement clause. But god damn it, first goalie to win a Hart since I almost called him Corey Perry. Carey Price. 2 Vezinas to his name. 1 gold medal draped in eagle screams. And almost a 4 Nations gold medal as well.
Yeah.
Connor Hellebuyck. You think we see him moved?
If the price is right. Allegedly, Carolina offered Alexander Nichushkin, which is one of their big like pieces they've thrown out there as a potential trade and a first. It doesn't sound like that happened. I think Hellebuck's his age is one thing, but I mean 33. It's calm down. He still has a lot of good years left, and his cap hit is something to take into account. However, I don't know if he gets traded because similar to other players we've talked about, Winnipeg's in a situation where they're like, we don't have to move him, but if the deal's really good, we will. The one team I thought about, and there's been zero talk about this, is the Colorado Avalanche. They've cleared some cap, and if they were to take, who was it? It was either Wedgwood or Blackwood's making like I think $4 million, and if they were to see if Winnipeg would want to take one of the Woods back to clear more space, they can make the room for a Connor Hellebuck. And they just watched a fantastic season end in the in the conference championships where they got swept by Vegas. In part, there's multiple reasons, but one of those like three top reasons you could say was goaltending. So that's an idea.
I like the idea that Connor Hellebuck, and I have the quote here in front of me, when he was gearing up at his end of the year press conference, he said, complacency is not going to get us moving forward. So something has got to happen. I'm not going to just sit here and throw every guy under the bus because honestly, I'm a goalie. I know goaltending really well. I can't say that forward did this and that defense did that. That's not my spot. I believe in every guy and giving their A+ effort for every single night. That was his quote, and people are like, Hellebuck wants out. I hear that, and I'm like, it seems like Hellebuck wants the team to improve around him. It doesn't sound like Hellebuck's like, time to trade me to Colorado.
I disagree. I think that was Hellebuck trying to make a statement that, like, underneath the surface that I want out, but he was trying not to say anything dickish. I think he wants out. And, like, what is Winnipeg going to do? Hang around with fucking Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor and, like, maybe, like, just miss the playoffs or get knocked out in the first round? Is that what you're signing on for?
Well, that would be exceptionally hard for them to do because they didn't make the playoffs this year. So I don't know
exactly
the playoffs in the first round. Kyle Connor, also an American. You think he's going to force his way out?
Oh, definitely, because he hates all of Canada. Thinks poutine tastes like shit.
If you were a team with a lot of cap space that's made very little moves, not the Boston Bruins this time because they have a goalie. Connor Hellebuck, buying or selling?
If I'm a team that has a good roster and I'm like, goddamn, a goalie like Connor Hellebuck would really put us over the edge, yes. If I have a team with holes in front of the goaltender, I'm not doing that. You have other problems to fix.
Yeah, and what if Buffalo, what if just 4 for Hellebuck?
For what?
The 4th pick.
Oh, if it's just the 4th pick, I'd be fine with it. Just that one pick, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, you can't just trade you like, for a goalie? 4 for a goalie? And I'm like, it's Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, 1 first-round pick when we finally got back to the playoffs, and if they were to go back to not making the playoffs, I'm pretty sure we'd burn down the city. Yeah, I think it's fine.
And finally, on our trade board, Mike, Dylan Larkin, who demanded his trade so long ago that it was in an NHL when the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't have a coach, the Edmonton Oilers didn't have a coach, and Darnell Nurse hadn't demanded a trade yet. Currently sitting at 8.7 for 5 more years. He has a no-trade clause, but he has turned in a list. It said Vegas, and then below it was just the letter L. No one knows what that means, but he claims that there are 2 teams on the list.
Yeah. You know what the funny part of this?
My intro?
No. Well, that was very funny. Do you know what Dylan Larkin's amount of like reports about teams being interested in him and the amount of Canadian teams that have won a Stanley Cup since 1993 have in common?
Wait, here, you want to do a clean read on that and I'll just cut it in?
Yeah. So do you want to know what the amount of
Is it 0?
Teams you're an asshole. Yes, I've heard 0 things about Dylan Larkin and teams being interested.
I heard Minnesota fielded an offer about it at one point, like weeks ago. At this point, I feel like
And nothing since then. All this trade craziness going on. There's been zero talk about Dylan Larkin. There's been more talk about once again like Matthew Nyes and Alexander Nichushkin and like all these like what dudes, and nothing about Dylan Larkin. Enjoy being with the Red Wings until the trade deadline, buddy.
in the time since Dylan Larkin demanded a trade, Brady Tkachuck went from the captain of the Ottawa Senators to the biggest offseason trade in the NHL, and that had time to settle down, and still Dylan Larkin hasn't been traded.
And the funny thing is, like the Brady Tkachuck trade stuff was never like super out there. It was just like all like under the surface. We're probably going to, Brady Tkachuck's probably going to want out, so they're probably going to trade him at some point. But it wasn't like super public, and so when it happened, it was like whoa, but not super surprising. Dylan Larkin straight up like put his balls on the table and was like, "I want out of here," and there's been nothing.
Yeah, he said, "You guys are playing more like you guys are no ma'am."
Yeah, and he's gonna have to be playing for Yzerman's team probably until the next trade deadline. At this point, I don't think a deal gets done in the offseason. Do you?
No, I can't imagine at this point that it does. Although, it's hockey. Teams bury the hatchet sometimes.
So I will say, like going into that, after I got that news, I was texting you about it, and I was totally cool if it was an Alex Tuch sign-in trade, maybe tack on like a mid-round pick and like Yuri Kulik for Dylan Larkin. That's fine with me. Now that like the Alex Tuch piece would be out of that trade, I'm not going to go after Dylan Larkin because they're probably asking for way too much than I'd want to give for a dude who's like a solid 1C, but he's a solid 1C in the way that Sebastian Aho is. He's not like an elite 1C.
I think that's insulting to Sebastian Aho.
Wow, that's insulting to Dylan Larkin, I think.
What I would say is like I was like really like, hey, you know what? Dylan Larkin would make a lot of sense as like the 2C on like Washington. But then they've
like Minnesota
made a bunch of
desperately
moves.
needs another center.
Yeah, and so now I don't know who the Dylan Larkin team is. But
Okay.
if you were a center needy team who had not made a lot of moves at the trade deadline and had some cap space, say like the Boston Bruins, buy or sell Dylan Larkin.
If the price is right, I'd buy it. That return has no more than one first round pick in it though. If that.
Yeah, I mean, who are you or who you gambling or negotiating against at this point? Who are you in competition to get Dylan Larkin for if you're in
Apparently
the argument?
nobody. Apparently nobody.
All right, Mike, that's kind of it for our trades. I have some news to hit, and then you had a thing you really wanted to talk about.
You missed one.
What did I miss?
You think Zach Werenski moved? He has this meeting apparently coming up with the Blue Jackets after the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's forcing his way out of I guess apparently Columbus, Ohio, Canada?
Yeah,
to go
Columbus,
to an
Ohio,
American team?
in the heart of Ottawa.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Like, I get why you would say, Zach Werenski, we really gotta figure this out. But they have him by the balls. He's there for another 3 years at $9.5 million. And he is coming off of a Norris win, and they also just traded a couple of pieces to get a little bit better. So, no,
Too much talk.
Don't think Zach Werenski moves.
That's what makes me think he might move. Just so there's way too much talk, like news coming out of like Werenski's meeting with the Blue Jackets afterwards to discuss his future. Like that's a little too much talk for me. So that makes me think he could be, if not during the offseason, but I will say if Columbus starts out their season and they're just the absolute shits, he's probably moving at the deadline.
Yeah, but like
to Buffalo for a 7th round pick.
Imagine being Zach Werenski having to play second pair defense.
Second pair.
But like,
oh my god, that'd be so good.
they're not gonna move him unless they get the Quinn Hughes package, and they're not gonna get the Quinn Hughes package because like I get Werenski just won the Norris, but Quinn Hughes is a better defenseman and he's younger.
Whoa, I think they're pretty on par. I wouldn't say he's.
I think they're about on par. Like I don't think that it's like Quinn Hughes is unquestionably a better defenseman than Zach Werenski. But if I was starting a team right now, I would take Hughes over Werenski.
I will say that sometimes when I watch Quinn Hughes play, my knees like get weak and I
yeah, exactly.
I say that about Werenski.
I watched a shitload of both those guys on Team USA alone, and when Quinn Hughes would touch the ice, I would feel things I haven't felt in my life. And when Zach Werenski would touch the ice, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, Zach Werenski."
Right, but Quinn Hughes is something else. Really did it for you. I get that.
All right, Mike, I got a couple of news items to check off here real quick, though. An hour and a half into this podcast.
Jesus.
First off, we have actually not done a podcast since Mike Babcock was officially inked as the Oilers head coach.
Yeah.
The important notes for this are A, his last playoff win, Mike. You want to guess the year of Mike Babcock's last playoff win?
Has to be when he was in
So
I was going to say Detroit.
I'll tell you this.
Maybe Toronto,
So
they lost the series but won a game.
He was in Detroit a lot early in the 2000s. Then he went to Anaheim for a bit. Then he went to Toronto and then Columbus and had a layoff of 3 years between his end of his tenure in Columbus and the start in Edmonton.
Okay. I'm not looking it up. I'm just going to like the Wikipedia page where it shows the years that he coached each team to give me an idea. And it does not show the years. So I don't know. I'm going to say 2019.
2013 is his last playoff win.
Jesus.
Now, the other thing is, this is very publicly a decision that seems to have been made by Hyman, Draisaitl, and McDavid. They went to management and said, we want a hard-ass coach. We want a coach that's going to come in here and look at our cell phones and yell at fourth-liners instead of yelling at us. So when this blows up, and it will blow up, but when this blows up, this sullies McDavid's legacy a bit. And it should, because this is the third straight McDavid guy at head coach who isn't going to work out.
Yeah. This, it's fine. We talked about Babcock a couple weeks ago. I was like trying to remember like all the details and all the shit he did in the past. And then obviously since he got hired by the Oilers, people have been tweeting left and right all the crap he did and the controversies around him. And yeah, I don't like this hire. I don't think it's going to go well. And in a way it shouldn't go well because that's what the Oilers deserve for the way they've mismanaged. It's been a mismanaged franchise for years. It's even worse if it's a McDavid and Draisaitl choice. Babcock gave his press conference, and in that press conference, when asked about the Columbus Blue Jackets situation, he was just so absolutely flippant and didn't take any accountability, which is basically the story of Babcock throughout his career and his controversies is that it's not his fault, it's other people's fault, or it's, oh, sorry about it. So I look forward to it blowing up in their faces, and I personally can't wait.
Yeah, the thing about Babcock that has been pretty universally said by just about anyone that's played for him is that Babcock is a sycophant and a suck-up to the top players on the roster who could do something about him being there and will scream and bash clipboards and text your girlfriend if you're a bottom six forward.
Yeah.
Take out all the rage of a top guy not doing something.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was the story of when he was with the Red Wings, like, Johan Franzen, he went after him so hard on the bench that, like, after the game, the dude had, like, a complete breakdown. And it's like, I know there's probably, like, dudes in, like, their 80s who are like, a hard-nosed coach teaches them how to win. But it's like, no, that's not the case. And keep in mind, this was back in, like, the late 2010 or late 2000s, early 2010s when this happened. So it was like also back when it was like a bit of a different time in the world and this kind of crap happened. And if it was bad back then, imagine how bad it's considered now. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
The other bit of coaching news, Jim Hiller got hired in
That's
Toronto,
which not a real person.
coached the LA Kings last year.
Don't agree.
Who
don't
notably
believe it.
played
Nope,
in more
not real.
playoff games than the Toronto Maple Leafs. The interesting thing from this is that Toronto was the only team given permission to interview Bruce Cassidy. And they didn't interview him. They did not interview him.
Bruce Cassidy must suck as a head coach because Mike Babcock got hired.
Well,
and Bruce Cassidy's still sitting there.
Edmonton couldn't interview him.
That's right. They weren't allowed to.
Yeah. Only Toronto was, which I think is very funny. That Vegas was like, we don't want a decent coach going somewhere, except Toronto. It's fine if he goes to Toronto. That doesn't matter.
Which is funny that they felt like he was enough of a problem to fire him so late in the year. Like they obviously felt like he was the problem. In order for us to have a good run in the playoffs, like we got to get rid of him. But then when another team's like, hey, can we interview him? They're like, no, no.
And now their head coach is Ryan Craig, who was their their AHL coach.
There's been a couple hires there, like Ryan Craig, I know for sure, and and then the Vancouver hire of Manny Mahamla.
We talked about that one, yeah.
Yeah, who aren't like your typical boys club hires. But then Mike Babcock came along, ultimate boys club guy.
Is he? The guy's been out of the league for 3 years. Is Rick Tocchet the most boys club guy?
No, because Rick Tocchet was sitting on panels on networks talking about hockey for a minute before he finally got the tap to come back. So I'm not sure. I feel like John Tortorella is the ultimate boys club guy.
Yeah, Tortorella.
He will forever be in the NHL.
That's right. Yeah, I'm surprised he's not already coaching Vancouver or something.
Someone's going to get fired midseason, and Torts is coming.
It's going to the last 8 games.
Yeah.
Mike, you had something here about expansion. We've unfortunately run out of time to talk about that this week, so look forward to that as an off-season topic.
Yeah.
We do have the draft tonight. We have to, at the very least, acknowledge that. You had a quick thing that you wanted to do where we're just going to predict the top 5 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
The top 5 picks. So you want to just go in order here? Who do you got at number 1?
I think it's for sure Gavin McKenna.
I also have Gavin McKenna at number 1. That is Gavin McKenna. Mike, who do you have going number 2 to the San Jose Sharks unless they trade that pick?
I'm also going to go ahead and say they just moved out William Eklund. They're going to try to get a forward, so they're going to go with Ivar Stenberg.
Yep. And then I think number 3, there's like an obvious top 3 here, and then it gets a little bit more interesting. So number 3, right now to Vancouver, I'm going to go Caleb Malhotra, the coach's son, although there's been reports where they're like, no, we're not going to draft him just because he's the coach's son. And if I may say, bullshit.
Okay, sorry. There is an idea where they're like, hey, we lost Quinn Hughes, maybe we go Chase Reed. Like I don't throw that out.
It is insane to be in a rebuild and go, well, this is our only opportunity at the top of the draft. We're going to be good starting next year. So let's get the defenseman right now to replace our defenseman.
Oh, that was extremely disrespectful to defensemen. To think that they're not worth a terrible team taking a defenseman in the top 3.
They are, but there's like obviously a top 3 in this draft according to experts. It's Malhotra, Stenberg, and McKenna.
So just for fun, I'm going to say that Mahalwa is going to be like, actually, I hated you as a son. I wish I had a daughter. And he takes Chase Reed.
All right, I'm going to go Chase Reed 4 to Buffalo. Assuming once again,
I'm going to go Malhotra. I'm going to go Malhotra. I think we're going to get a little center there if they keep the pick.
Well, you guys have Constance Elenius. Why would you draft a center? According to you, if you have a player, it doesn't make sense to draft another player that plays that position.
No, we got to fill out that center spine going forward. So,
well, I would argue you have to fill out your defensive depth because you traded away all your defensemen. But
hey, so you've never heard of Radim Mirka, former 9th overall pick? You're just ignorant like that? Okay.
If we're being honest, no, I haven't.
I love the honesty on this podcast. That's what people tune in for.
And Mike, finally, at 5 to the New York Rangers, who are you predicting goes there?
See, I'm going to go... You could go there's a few there's a handful of defensemen in this top 10 a lot of people are mocking, but I think they're going to go with Vigo Bjork just because it's a cool name. I think Chris Drury is going to be like, that name's cool.
I'm going to go Carson Karls.
You're going to go with Carson Karls? All right.
And I also think they're going to flip Adam Fox at some point this year.
If you're going rebuild, that's what you should do, yes.
Adam Fox is the perennial defensive Jason Robertson.
Yeah, worst Norris winner of all time, I agree.
He won a Norris, and everyone's like, we hate this guy. We don't want him on Team USA. We want to trade him. This guy fucking sucks shit.
He was actually never good ever.
Mike, that is all I got. You got anything else?
Let's see. 2 minutes ago, Chris Johnston of The Athletic said, senses the odds of Mason McTavish trade getting completed tonight are declining with the start of round 1 approaching. The Rangers and Blues are still in the mix after making good offers to Anaheim yesterday, but there's no current momentum towards the deal, probably because, if I had to guess, Anaheim has no pressure to trade Mason McTavish. They just tossed his name out there to see what they could get.
There you go.
Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, you can. We have wrestling predictions coming up this weekend, so be sure to visit townalone.com to see those. We are predicting AEW's door.
It's no longer forbidden.
No longer
it's
forbidden.
Just a door.
We'll be back next week on this feed to discuss the start of NHL free agency, and maybe we'll do like a live stream or something. We haven't done a live stream in a minute. Maybe we'll do a live stream doing like free
you
agency
go live
reaction.
last night?
Yeah, well, I meant like on this channel.
Oh, we should do another live stream on this channel.
We had a good time with the draft stuff. Maybe we'll do a free agency live stream if we can figure out a format that works in.
Let's just do one right now. Draft's about to start. Here we go. We're rolling right into it.
Well, based off the last conversation we had, I don't think that we should be covering the NHL draft.
All right. Well, when Vigo Bork goes number 5 to the Rangers, you're gonna change your tune.
Dude, I loved his work in Eastern Promises, but I think maybe we'll do a live stream. I'll also be on this feed presumptively to do some NBA free agency talk. At some point, I'll link up with Tyler Karkar, the podcast, talk a little LaMelo Ball, a little Jaylen Brown, talk about some of the movement going on over there. Mike, did I tell you how the LaMelo Ball news got broken to me?
You said someone said it to you, like a mailman.
I was
or something?
outside of my apartment, untwisting my Timberwolves flag, and a guy walked by and went, "Hello," and I was like, "How you doing?" And he walked a few steps and turned around and goes, "No, Mello. We got Mello." And I was shocked too because I'm in Chicago, so I can't believe someone said "we" for the Timberwolves in Chicago.
I was going to say that's my favorite part.
So I said, "Wait, the Timberwolves got Mello?" And that guy broke down the trade for me, and I had like a 4-minute conversation with this guy about the trade, about Naz Reid, about the picks, about Mello, about how that's going to work, all that. The shocking part is, Mike, you up into my apartment. My apartment faces an alley.
Yeah.
This isn't like I ran into a guy on the streets in downtown Chicago.
Like Chicago, like that area especially, there's a lot of alley neighborhoods.
This was a guy who is a Timberwolves fan walking down a piss-reeking alley at 11 o'clock in the morning, who broke the news to me.
And after you got done talking, he stabbed you because it's Chicago with all the violent crime.
My assumption is that this guy has walked by my apartment before and saw the Timberwolves flag and was walking by hoping I would be out there.
Oh, definitely. He's wanted to be friends for so long.
Yeah. We'll also be back on the Town Alone podcast on Monday. We're going to do 26 questions about the 2026 NFL season.
Chicago college football.
No.
Oh.
We're
okay.
Actually, that podcast does come out on Monday. So
it does.
Yeah, so the 2026 26 questions about the 2026 NCAA season comes out on Monday. 26 questions about the NFL season will come out on Tuesday.
Also, just real quick, the CFL also said Brendan Zorsby cannot enter their league this year.
Do you think that's because he's American and Americans are ruining the CFL?
That is true. Yes, that is absolutely what it is.
I like how Texas Tech was like, it's fine if he gambled, and literally everyone else on the planet who plays American football went, no, it's not okay.
The NFL with that letter they sent him was basically like, do you know the older people will talk about disciplining kids and being like, you're not stern enough with them, right?
Yeah.
You know, that was basically the NFL, what the letter they sent to Sorsby, being like, all right, college football ain't going to tell it to you. We're going to fucking tell it to you, bud. Google it if you don't know and you're listening.
And then if you want to see us live stream or want to follow us on any of the socials, that is in the show notes below. But Mike, since we don't do shoutouts on the Basky podcast, would you care to guess who is currently the number 1 mocked player on the 2027 NBA mock draft according to Tankathon?
For 2027?
Yep.
Oh, that's so tough. Let me think.
Stop Googling. I see you typing.
I don't know. I'm not Googling. This is so crazy. Let me think. I'm still thinking. Oh my God, so hard. Let me see. I'm still thinking. Not Googling at all. Tyron Stokes.
How did it take you that long to get Tankathon up?
I didn't go to Tankathon. I just Googled it, and then I looked for Tankathon. It wasn't in the top whatever results, so I had to go to ESPN. Just kidding, I didn't. I know off the top of my head. Tyron Stokes, the fantastic player out of Kansas. Go Jayhawks.
Let's get out of here.
Jayhawks.